the audience, welcome the panel. Just a very quick introduction, and maybe then you can also tell a few words about yourself, and we can then start with the different discussion points. So we have Diana here, Diana Calfa from Morphoza. She's a founder and CEO. And she helps companies in creating destinations, not just spaces for their teams, if I'm right. We have Tibor here, Tibor Massányi from DIEM Group, Hungary. He's head of design, project management, and environmental consultancy. We also have C.Melih, Samli from Turkey, from DIEM company. He's also a founder, so we are full of founders here in this panel. And finally, we have Broekman from Ditt, Netherlands. He's the creative director. Almost all of you will have a talk as well later today, so we can look forward to that. But let's get the ball rolling. We have an interesting topic here, the post-pandemic office real estate. But yeah, let's start with a very quick introduction, and then we can start with the discussion points. Diana, maybe you can start.
As always, ladies first.
Yes.
So hi, nice to meet you and nice to be here. Also nice to meet all of the panelists, because we were yesterday actually joining physically together in a meeting yesterday. I'm Diana Calfa. I'm from Romania. I founded 16 years ago Morphoza, and since 8 years now we are only making design, build, furnish projects in office business. And we strongly believe that if we take the good gains of the pandemic, we can make a better world in also in offices.
Thank you. Josh, maybe you can continue.
Yeah, I'm Broekman. I'm from Holland. I have my experience done in Hollandse Nieuwe. That's a Dutch company. It's a design firm where I immediately started working on workplaces. So my fascination about workplace and the change of workplaces during the last decades, I think it's very interesting. I've seen the rise and fall of ICT and internet and the stand up again. And now the changes, and the pandemic is very interesting to see what impact it has on workplaces for now and in the future. So I'm since 2 years creative director at Ditt. And before that, I was 5 years creative director of another design and build company. And that's where Ditt is design as well as a build company. So that's a very interesting combination now in these days.
Thank you. Melih?
Hi, good morning to everyone again. My name is Samli. I'm the managing partner and founder partner of DIEM. We founded DIEM 23 years ago. Our first corporate customer was Siemens, and after 23 years, we are still working with them. In fact, we'll have a case study with one of the Siemens projects. In Turkey, DIEM, as we call ourselves, DIEM Group, we have a wide variety of services for corporate customers. And especially in the last 5 to 6 years, we've been specializing in design and build. Like my colleagues here, we are designing and then also we are building our projects, our office fit-out projects. And 5 years ago, we were working usually on the newly concepts of agile offices. And nowadays, we are now transforming them into hybrid offices. So, thanks.
Thank you. Finally, Tibor.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Good morning, everyone. My name is Tibor Massányi. I'm one of the managing partners of DIEM Group, who's actually working in Hungary. Our offices are in Budapest. We are one of the integrated service providers in the real estate business. We actually delivering design, sustainable consultancy, project management, and construction, general construction. The company is 26 years old, and actually I'm with DIEM 16 years now. This is the point where I started to work really with offices, and since then somehow I stuck it in this field, and every day it's a good new challenge and a good new learning procedure for me. So I'm really happy to able to join and share our ideas.
Thank you. So let's start because we don't have that much time. We had a lot of discussions yesterday about workplaces, how people view workplaces, how they would like to see them in the future. But let's look at it from the a little bit from the real estate business perspective. Let's discuss the title first: the post-pandemic office real estate. What will change, or what changed already? What might still be in the air? Anybody would like to take the first round, or should I ask?
Let me start.
Thank you.
Just because of Diana, not always ladies first. Based on my understanding and experience, the last 1.5, almost 2 years was very interesting. Obviously, pandemic is kind of raised the question, which was, I believe, in the market since long time ago. The question is always how the future office building will look like, and what kind of adjustments and modification necessary to provide much better office space for the tenants. Obviously, from this last 1.5, 2 years, the number of the people in the office building was not so high, if I can say that, but most probably because of this situation and how to invite back to the people to work from actual office buildings and not from home. I think that's basically the big question, and this is what the big corporates started to analyze, and I have to say, with our help and with other helps too. My general thoughts on this, that the workplace as an experience changed a lot, and maybe the definition of the experience and the workplace itself is what basically started to discussed by the real estate players, designers, corporates, whatever. So the question is what the office have to represent for the employees, for the users, and what kind of experience, to be honest, required by the users. And this is what we are, I believe, discussing right now.
Actually, I think that this is happening already for years, that the author is much more the user, and the user is the author, and the user is much more centralized in office design. That's something, a trend which is happening already for 10 years. But the benefit of the pandemic is that a bigger audience than the most innovative companies have learned in quite a hard way that it is possible to have another balance between physical work and virtual working, and working from remote spaces, either from home or from third spaces, other places to work from. And I think this is something, it's something like old wine in new bags. A lot of these experiences have been done already in activity-based or mobility-based working concepts, which are existing already for years. But a big audience now has found it out, and also the CFOs of a lot of companies have found out that the efficiency of working from remote spaces is good, even sometimes better than have to work at the office just to be at the office. So the mandatory being there, instead of making your program, making your agenda, and have a thorough look. What are you going to do? With who are you going to collaborate? Or do you need a focused space to work on some projects or documents? So you can make your agenda and be your own boss for that time, for this project or for this certain space. I think that's very important to to give this responsibility. Based on this responsibility, you have a talk with your employees on how do you perform. So it's based on performance and not on being there. So that's a different change, which we found out. So it's so much about finding new balances between working at the office, and the physical place is very important to feel connected, to feel part of this company, with this culture, with this organization, like being at a tribe that fits you. And that's the reason that this physical office will always exist. But the balance of working at the office, feeling connected there, socialize there, collaborate there, or working remotely, meeting remotely to save time, to save traveling time, to know which time is the best to travel to the office, so prevent traffic jams or those kinds of things. I think this new balance is something people realize now much better. And we'll have to find out if we're going back from our principles and our common use, going back into the old way. Sometimes it will. We are habits of nature. We're used to doing things, and it's always hard to keep up the new innovative way of working.
It's interesting. You touched a nice point here. The fact that actually the future of offices was accelerated by the pandemic, because it started already years ago to go towards hybrid working, but it was also a problem of management in the companies, because a lot of managers were still suffering for presenteeism. If I don't see him in the office, doesn't mean it's working, or things like this one. So it was actually something that will make a shift, a real shift towards this future of offices, which was already in. But especially I'm looking now at countries like Romania, because, for example, I just said that we were in your office in Ditt, and we met in Amsterdam these days. So when we are there, we see another balance between humane offices and big glass buildings, so on. So it's another concern given to the wellness of the people in and out, not only outside the space, but also in the interior. And I think, especially for countries like Romania, where only big companies and innovative companies were paying a lot of attention to the space, now the space is a board subject. And we as designers, we need to really push this change forward, because for the first time we can talk with the destinants, so not only property teams, and we have human resources on the table, we have marketing on the table, sales on the table. So actually we have a chance to give back to the humans what belongs to the humans. Because up to now, more or less in the last period of time, at least in Romania, buildings were made mainly for the landlord. So it was about status, not about well-being. So a lot of we took a lot of green out, and we put it a lot of beton instead. So now we can go back to what is important for us, because we are talking about offices as destinations. Why our favorite destinations are holidays, city center? Because it's life. It's a life space. So this is what we need to bring inside the office back again.
Yeah, this is all about human-centered design, and being aware that you have to pamper your employees instead of squeezing them out, and to give inspiration. So an office should be attractive and inspirational, feeling welcome to work there and to collaborate, feeling protected, and feeling part of this tribe. And these are the physical triggers of being at an office, and being working and feeling proud that you're at this organization and that you're part of it. And I think those knowledges were already before the pandemic existing. Think of biophilic design principles, where you get more inspired, and you feel welcome, and you feel in contact with nature, and to have more nature included. And this is also something which the pandemic gave more insights to a lot of people, that they feel much more inspired after a walk outside or a meeting while walking outside. And so I think outside space is getting more and more important in offices as well. Not only in offices, but being able to use the outside space while you're working remotely or something. But those principles were already proven before the pandemic broke out. And some CFOs, when they noted that an inspirational employee gets less sick. So if you take down illness in companies with 10%, well, you gain a lot of money during the year. And if you have an inspirational environment where people feel inspired and feel connected, they get less sick, they get less bored and burned out. So those kinds of elements were already existing, but are evolving now much quicker and are accelerated by the knowledge we took from the pandemic. And I think not we took, but the big companies took, and also the mainstream companies took.
Yeah, and the remote working is basically also kind of rewriting the functions. Yeah. Sorry. Go on, Melih.
I was just going to add, because being to speak the last, I think it's always very advantageous, because you already guys said whatever I had in mind. I totally agree with all of you. So because in DIEM, since the beginning of pandemic, we have created, while we were in a lockdown, called a puzzle model, as we represented in our website as well. So because in DIEM, we believe that the office is not dead. We will all go back to our offices, as we are doing right now. So we are our corporate customers. But the point is, as Josh said, yes, it will be someplace attractive for all of the employees, especially with the Z generation, with the young ones. So they will have to have a kind of reason to come to office. So we believe that we are changing our offices by designing them at the very beginning, from an activity-based office to an experience-based office, which I mean that whenever, in the old days, yes, everybody, like my friend said, we had to go to the office because our managers and sometimes ourselves, the managing partners, wanted to see all the employees at the office, physically see them. But now we are changing to experience-based, so that the new employees or the existing ones will have an opportunity to understand the culture in which they are working, so that, and if they need to collaborate with their friends for a project or something like that. So this is why they will come to the office. In a very small detail from DIEM, for instance, our bidding department, they even didn't come to office since the beginning of the pandemic, because they believe it's much more in a much more quiet place. They are getting the right numbers all together, so that we can win the bids. So far we've been quite successful. So I believe they are quite right. So we will have a mixture of this kind of understandings, I believe.
Yeah, and this is I just completely agree with you, Melih, and just wanted to add again that because of the remote working, or the home office, wherever, so you are working partially from the office and partially out from the office, meaning that that your day in the office, it's completely different, because you going back to the office for purpose, and this purpose going to be the basic of the design, the layout of the office. So this is what going to define the space, rather than that we have an office, and office have to serve this and this and that, have to be this kind of table and that kind of meeting rooms. It's more like a purpose-based of design, what we have to follow, and also what we have to discuss with the clients. So this is a huge difference, I believe. And obviously there are certain type of work which you cannot do from home, and there are certain type of works which you can, and most probably you're doing better. And these are the things But what I also kind of feeling, and what I also kind of see, that like 5 years ago, you know, huge companies spend a lot of money and focused very much for to communicate through the office, the corporate identity. It was so, you know, there was a lot of clients of us who you know, focused and pushed this kind of corporate identity through the whole office, you know, in colors, in, you know, different posters, whatever. Now it's again turned, because it's more like focused for the user, the people who are working there, and what kind of experience these users has to feel or experience to feel well, to be productive, and to be more active in the office. Therefore, it's more, as Diana told it, it's more human-based kind of design. It's connected more like the nature. It's more cozy. We can also say that it's more like your home, where you can feel yourself much better. So this is again what I see. It's very much changed. So I. You know, that these days, you know, not really, our clients not really ask us to have, you know, fully on all corridors, all the corporate identity communications. It's more like focus for example, the reception area, and that's it. So the rest is more like a cozy kind of office space.
And it's more deep, I think, Tibor, because it's about what you feel inside. It's about the values that you are incorporating in what you are doing daily base, not about putting the values on the walls. And I think that one main shift that is happening now, it's trust, because managers will need to trust more the employees in order to have this work from anywhere operations, IT speaking, also in terms of daily base operations. But also it will be a matter of trust them that they know what they want from the office, and get them on board. So not I'm designing something and you have to live in this office. So you have to look at your teams, you get to have them on board to really start and do design with them. And we will have a study case later on about a company that did it very revolutionary before the pandemic. And I think this trust also will rely on the relations as the designers or the design and build companies will have with our clients, because we had a lot of moments in the past where we said it's not about not only about companies branding, but it's about creating a community. You don't have a receptionist, you have a community keeper, and a lot of stuff that they were not yet eager to hear. But now it will have to change, because for the first time they have questions like how to do it. It's good like this, it's not good like this. So I think a lot in partnership and in really bonding a team, client, employees, specialists, in order to define the interior. So it's not something that it's the designer should do. We have to do together.
Yeah, it's a collaboration with the client and the design team. And the first phase, the analysis, is very, very important. It's like a tailor. You have a tailor-made concept for, and this tailor is not only taking your physical sizes, but also your emotional sizes. The emotional sizes of a company are like, when you translate it to a tailor, he asks you also, what do you prefer, a double-breasted suit, or do you a much more moderate suit? Do you want to have stars and stripes, or do you want to have a pale blue? So this is more the preference and the emotional part, which fits to the culture of the company. And this is not only I'm a 52 size. I'm a bit older, but okay. So you have to take sizes, and you have to be very keen on that to make this tailor-made solution for your client. But what you see as a trend is, of course, that it's much more human-centered. It's about the emotional side. It's about trust as well. Trust to give this ownership to the employees, to trust that they work remotely just as well, and you can measure it. So it's about emotional part. It's also about the technological part, the digital part of being able to have excellent conditions, working from home, meeting remotely, or having good hybrid meetings with as well physical attendance and attendees as virtual attendees. So this combination.
And this is the most complicated one, because the dynamic of offline, you will not feel it in online. So there, I think it's a lot of room for development.
But these are learnings which companies and we are doing at this moment. We see that we are in an even setting now. We are all as one person behind the screen. We have just an equal meeting like we have a physical meeting. But when there's a meeting where I sit alone and you are sitting with the five of you on a table, then it's an uneven meeting. It's so much harder to have these good sessions. So these are learnings you can take, and which companies are a lot doing, how to make these hybrid meeting areas. So this is just an example of learnings from the pandemic.
Yes, and before we continue, guys, sorry, we have just four minutes left, so just 1 second. Just if you would like to ask a question, please ask it here or connect. But we'll use, if not, then we will continue with Melih. Sorry, just wanted to say that people should ask their questions.
I'm on the same page with Jos and Diana, because we know, as the experts of office spaces, we know that there will be some change in our industry, and we will trying to make it in a better way, in a good way for the future. But our corporate customers, they know that something will change in their offices, but they don't have how and when and how this change will affect them. So I totally agree with Joe. So it's up to us to tell them there is no one good solution that will fit everybody. No, instead of that, we have to explain to each and every one of them that every solution has a unique system, and it's our job as designers and office experts to try to make, as a tailor, to try to make a nice suit to fit into all of them. So it's another challenge I think we're going to be facing in the coming years and months.
Thank you. So again, please ask your question if you have. I have one question actually, or a comment, because we're talking about a lot of different views from the user perspective. But as Tibor mentioned as well, a lot of the offices are still empty or half empty or partially empty. If you look at new developments, again, from the, let's say, real estate perspective, so not from let's say the existing work and work styles. What do you think changed in the real estate market in terms of even square meters, requirements of square meters, because of the kind of new way of working? Was the pandemic only an accelerator, or was there some real change happening?
I believe if we are talking about, and that's what we kind of experiencing in DIEM, if we are talking about the new projects, how to build and how to design a new office building, you definitely have to take into consideration the certain or the current situation. So that's definitely changed it. Also, like in the common areas of the buildings, the services what the office buildings providing to the tenants, that's definitely something different, and it's you know, it has to work hand in hand with the design and the needs of the tenants. So therefore, if the tenants' needs are changing, then the landlords and the developers have to kind of following it. Even the best if the developers kind of trying to be always a little bit further than or one step further than the tenants' needs, and this is how they can end of the day sell or create a good product and a good office building. So it's definitely, I see it in the market, and obviously those ones which are exist it's a huge question. How, you know, and how many people are coming back to, or what's the percentage of the employees who are coming back, and therefore how they have to modify or change the office, the current office, what they have.
Thank
But
you.
I think it's the same shift.
I have to leave.
Because
Sorry. It's 11 o'clock. I have to leave. You can still stay here. You know, to discuss the rest of the points if you have. But let's stick to the timeline. We'll hear from Diana and Melih later on. I'll have to join the other session, which is currently starting. Thanks again, and see you soon.
thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Just of us.
Yeah, I think, by the way, Tibor, I think you're right. And for instance, in our current project that I was telling you about in Amsterdam, we had a client with 9 floors. They diminished their spaces to 5 floors, which we redesigned it. But the remaining 4 floors in that high rise, they quickly got rented out by a co-working company. So because I think it's going to be a mixture of them. So we're not going to be, for a few years, yes, the real estate market, I think in all our countries will have an impact. It will be impacted by that. But then somehow it will find, I mean, as we say in Turkish, the flow will find its course.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but if you think so, for the landlords, there is a real shift, because for them it's complicated now to deal with the undecision of the companies, because they with the undecision of the companies, because they are still debating what to do to scale down, scale up, how to make the offices and so on. And actually in landlords, from a business of having and renting square meters, it became a business of people again. So again, human-centric, because if I'm addressing the employees, the tenant will follow. Up to now, I was addressing the tenant. I didn't care about the employees anymore. It was the employees was the tenant's business. But now, because it's that shift, also the employees came in the focus of the tenant. For example, we have a small example here in Romania, in Cluj, a landlord who actually took ownership of his buildings. He didn't have somebody to rent the canteen anymore, because there were not people inside the building. He did that business on his own, because only for those 10, 15 persons, he needed to provide something. Then he thought of what to do next. He organized a podcast on the camp that everybody who was in the building could rent it to create his own content. Now he's making a hybrid meeting room, because not everybody have enough space on his own to do it, and it's a test one. So he's doing stuff. This means ownership, but not ownership of the building, but ownership of the people inside the building.
Yeah,
it's interesting what we are living now.
Yeah, but it's
from
kind
a
of
lot of
revolutionary. Yeah, it's a kind of a revolutionary, I think, time what we are, or where we are, and what we are experiencing, in the meaning that somehow the pandemic really somehow raised the questions of what's the new office have to look like, and what kind of purpose has to serve. And it's simply, it's up in the air, and to invite back the employees, to give them the right place of working, it's so important that the corporate, let's say, companies and the big companies cannot say anymore that I don't care. I just simply do the math, as less square meter as possible, as dense therefore the office as possible. Therefore, technically the building has to be fit for this for this purpose. It's again, it's a question what the tenant want, and for the tenant it's like what the user, the employee want to experience in the office. So it's very revolutionary, and to be honest, it's very interesting because in the past 10, 15 years, we was always hassled that we wanted to create something which is more connected to the human, but because of budget reasons, because of square meter reasons, because of corporate definition reasons, we was just simply not able to push through to the clients. And now the time is changed, so it's very great to kind of have and work in this kind of situation.
Yes, guys, I have to step out because I need to prepare for the study case
for your
session.
presentation.
But nice to see you again, and thanks for listening.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye. Bye.
See you. Bye. Bye.